Just quieten down, baby.
Per capita export value.
Libraries!
Minister, are you embarrassed by your behavior today?
There's a lot of bleeding hearts around.
Do you have the fortitude or the gonads to stand up and come across here and say that to me, you son of a bitch?
Just watch me.
He certainly went too far, Mr. Speaker, when I saw him stick his tongue out.
Contemptuous disregard.
More than a slab of bacon talking here.
The disappointment you also feel is my responsibility.
I lost my temper.
What is the nature of your thoughts?
The word was F-A-R-T.
What's your freedom rating on today?
Moderate to mild.
Moderate to mild, yeah.
How about you?
Mine's kind of shitty to low average at the moment.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Okay.
It's just I don't know what's going on with my freedom lately. Maybe I just need to go for a walk or, just hit a tree with a baseball bat just to feel free.
You should really just kind of call up PP and ask him how you can increase your freedom.
How does he maintain such incredible freedom with his schedule at that age? That's what I want to know.
I love it.
Oh, good. Anyway, so Jesse,
Reese,
what do you think happens if you give a homeless person $7,500?
what do I think would happen if you gave a homeless person $7,500? I feel like this is a setup to a joke, but I have some very serious, depressing answer to that, which is probably nothing great.
If you gave me $7,500, I'd buy like a 1992 Cadillac DeVille or something. And
you're saying a homeless person. So from what I've been,
I'm saying a homeless person.
What I've been told, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've been told this by people who know the community and been in the community, is that a great deal of homeless people are homeless because of untreated mental disorders and traumas, and due to a lack of doctors and a lack of support in our communities. And so they go untreated. They can't hold down jobs. They can't basically function in society. And unfortunately, due to needing some form of treatment, will turn to drugs. And that it just creates this horrible fucking feedback loop of living on the street and needing drugs and living on the street and needing drugs. And it's awful. And if you gave them $7,500, it would most likely go to their current treatment plan, which is drugs. It's awful.
But I think you're talking about kind of long-term people who experience persistent homelessness.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of people who just can't afford homes who are homeless these days, largely. There's not
you mean I
think you're accurate in what you're saying, but there's a lot of people living out of cars and sofa surfing who are also homeless, who don't have addiction.
Oh my God, issues. In today's housing market, that's everywhere. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just so what happened was a university, the University of British Columbia, gave 50 homeless people $7,500 as a social experiment. Okay.
When was this?
This is a CBC. This is a CTV experiment. This is a CTV article about the experiment. Let me just bring the date up here. This was August this year, this summer.
Wow. Okay. That's a very strange number. 7.5.
Maybe they got. That's how they split the money up once you took the.
I guess. Okay.
Admin. So Dr. Zhao, an associate professor of psychology, and his team, they gave them $7,500, and then they followed them for a year to see what happened to the money.
This is very interesting. All right.
So the jumping off point apparently was a survey which respondents estimated that if homeless people were given this amount of money, they would spend 4 times more on their non-homeless counterpart, 4 times more than their non-homeless counterparts on so-called temptation goods. So the idea is that people don't trust.
This was the theory before doing
this. This is the theory that people in general don't trust those in homelessness. They think that they'll go on drugs and alcohol, and there's a lot of distrust. And this is what they wanted to experiment with, was go, okay, well, I mean, it's risky because, obviously, some people could use that money to fund an overdose or something if that was the case. So, but they wanted to challenge or at least explore the distrust and the stereotypes.
I'd say this is a worthy experiment because,
it's a really cool experiment, I think, because it tests that that prejudice that people might have, I guess. So the cash transfer was no governments are willing to try it. So the university was like, we should try it. We should get some funding and see what happens.
If I could talk on that for a brief moment, it's the distrust, I think, comes from, like, you know, how do I put this? I had a girlfriend once who she wanted to be a social worker. And help homeless community and help drug addicts and really help break down the stereotypes that these are horrible people and they deserve to be mistrusted and they deserve to, you know, she's like, no, they're human beings and we need to trust them. We need to, you know, be kinder to them and, you know that they're struggling. And I'm like, oh, that's a really nice message to put out there. But the distrust that happens.
And then you dumped her.
And then I dumped her. Yeah. No. But the mistrust that happens really does come from, like, drugs taking over your brain. It just takes over your mind. Yeah. And a lot of people will end up abusing normal, natural trusts. Like, if you and I hung out, you would have this, like, I wouldn't have to earn this trust. It's right there where you just kind of assume subconsciously that I'm never going to just straight up punch you in the face for no reason. And you know, like, so it's hard to rebuild trusts. And so people have a difficult time trusting that it's been broken.
And also, like, you know, you aggressive panhandlers, like, people have bad experiences sometimes, you know, and you have good and bad experiences, and the bad ones stick in your mind sometimes more than the good ones.
Yeah, and it's not that we inherently distrust or dislike them. I think that a lot of people have had just some personal experiences, and they're not looking at, like, oh, what a horrible human being that is. They're more like, I've had some uncomfortable and really shitty personal experiences dealing with this, and so it's more of like a personal protection rather than an outgoing distrust or hate for all. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
sorry, I know a lot about I just know this is not a funny episode, guys. Sorry.
It's an interesting one. So Dr. Zhao basically said that we spend billions a year to manage homelessness and doesn't think is a good return on investment. If you want to enjoy us and support the show and enjoy the rest of the content we have on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Canadian Politics is Boring, where we have hours and hours and hours of episodes that you have never heard before and that you can go and enjoy. We also enjoy having fun with our patrons, share links, funny stuff that's going on that we don't necessarily put on our public feeds too. So we hope you will join us there and support the show. But if that's not for you, we'll still be back next week with a free episode.